Good morning. So today I would like to discuss with you how to cross-examine the witnesses. First, you must prima facie understand that what is chief examination, what is cross-examination, what is re-examination, and what re-cross-examination. Indian Evidence Act says chief examination is conducted by the person who produced the witness. So he is not entitled to put uh, leading questions. Leading question means uh, your question itself contains answer. Are you there at scene of village? Have you seen the accused murdering? No, that was not proper. But actually, practically, what happens due to lack of vigilance on the judges and the defense counsel, the prosecutor putting question and getting answers and dictating the typist to answer. This procedure is illegal. He should put questions, the answer should be uh, de- uh, de-oriented to the typist and the typist should type it. Then all the public prosecutors only concentrate on the vomiting of 161 statement with his CD. That is also not correct practice. If we want to succeed in the case, let him put question, let the witness answer the questions so that the lapses on the part of investigation officer who failed to record certain information, the witness may speak and support the prosecution. You may be missing that part also. Then the another aspect was that while identifying the marks, identifying the dress and other materials, the prosecutor simply placed the material before the table and show it to the witness. Is this was the shirt you wore at the time of occurrence or what? That is also a leading question, should not be permitted. And sometimes the over enthusiastic, uh, aggressive public prosecutors even alter the statement given by the witnesses. This all should be. The same prosecutor can cross-examine the witness if he turned hostile. Turning hostile means when witness was produced by the party, if he is not supporting it, then the prosecutor must seek permission of the judge and he may cross-examine. So, then the cross-examination, you can put any leading question, but there should not be any two answers in your questions, not confusing questions. And suppose if you are giving some suggestion incriminating the witness, you should be very careful because intelligent and vigilant district judges sometimes ask, is this question from you counsel or from the accused instruction? If the accused said there was no such instruction, then you will be liable for defamation. The Indian Evidence Act permit you at the time of cross-examination, you can refer his previous involvement, previous statement, whatever it may be. Even apart from 161 statement, you can ask the questions referring the earlier statement given before any other court proceedings or judicial proceedings or authorities proceedings. At the same time, sometimes what happens, the budding advocate who have not properly trained, not observed the court proceedings, simply read out the 161 statement and claiming that accused, you did not say that was not correct procedure. You have to simply put your question. Did you say the statement which you have just now given to the police officer when you are interrogated? Even if he says I was not interrogated by the investigator, you still say that you were interrogated and at the time of interrogation you did say this. Then that should be recorded. That should be referred to investigating officer at the time of cross-examining under 145 Evidence Act. You can refer and confront with the earlier statement given by the said witnesses. So all right, then what happened? How to cross-examine the witnesses? There may be eyewitnesses, there may be circumstantial witnesses, there may be res gestae witnesses, and there may be chance witnesses. Some witnesses simply say, even though he did not saw the occurrence, stating that my son was found missing and I had subsequently, therefore FIR was filed. So all those things are, and you should keep in one mind before cross-examining the witnesses and before conducting the trial. Kindly go through your 173 final reports applied to the accused and handed over to you, wherein the witnesses' name and the area of which facts the witness may speak. There you should get information from your client. What was the relation between these witnesses? Whether they were available, what was their avocation, all these things should be. If there are chance witnesses planted, a witness may surprisingly be there, either known to the victim or known to the parents of the victim or other witnesses, then you have to probe about his whereabouts, his history, whether he is a stock witness or not. All that thing you should be very careful to collect his information so that he can be confronted with questions of cross-examination to claim that he was not there, he was only tainted, implanted witness. That must be most important. Then how to cross-examine? If you are aware that the witnesses who actually saw the occurrence, if you get that information from your accused, then you should not put questions elaborately, because whenever if you put questions to the eyewitnesses, he may perfectly speak about the questions answers. There may be complicated that you are assisting the prosecution to prove his guilt. But suppose if the witnesses were not there according to your accused instruction, then you can put questions. You slowly try to elicit through cross-examination without giving awareness to the witness that he is deviating from the prosecution story about time of death, place of occurrence, and the time when the deceased or victim is moved to the hospital or to the police station, who accompanied them. All these are most vital important. So after occurrence, at which direction the accused were ran, and whether weapons were taken from their hiding of bodies or bag, or whether they are carrying the weapon, and which direction the accused went. These things should be concentrated. If the witnesses are implanted and not seen the occurrence, suppose it is eyewitness, you should be far better putting his questions about the character of the deceased, is any other enemies, is any involvement in any other cases, or then finally you should say that you have not seen the occurrence. You are deliberately giving false evidence. Only to that much extent will help you, and nothing more than that. If the eyewitnesses, one or two, are had spoken about the occurrence, you try to conduct your trial to via media, whether you can uh, end up with the case by alternative lesser sentence rather from getting convictions. But you should do your duty at the lower court trial level, because there is then even if you get convictions before lower court, you can get some consideration of via media before the appellate court. But do not leave room for any questions which you are bound to put the witnesses. Another aspect was, and try to get answers from witnesses, other eyewitnesses, about some inconsistency, and keep it in our mind. That will help you only at the time of argument. Argument. That is most important. Other as what about Resgesi witness? Resgesi is somewhat hearsay evidence. But sometimes even though it is irrelevant, but otherwise relevant, because he speaks about some information leading to the incidents. Suppose the wife, after hearing the assault of her husband, rushes to the spot and shouts, "See, my husband was murdered." And if he saw somebody is running away, far away, then though she has not seen the witness, and somebody told her that some people have came and killed your husband. If she says that when I reached my spot, my husband was with blood injuries, and somebody told that somebody killed, that will be considered as Resgesi evidence. Suppose the prosecution witnesses turned hostile, still prosecutor must concentrate that some other information other than is supporting prosecution case may help the prosecution or not. In that area you should concentrate. That will show your skill in conducting the prosecution. Therefore, that evidence may also go against you. If suppose apart from that he had not seen that, he simply says, I saw some 4 persons have come and assaulted him and ran away. But he did not support when before the investigative he would have stated the name, knife, etc. But though he did not support the prosecution, he may be treated as such. The other portion of the evidence that he saw some assailants have assaulted will remain evidence proved, which may have some lead to substantiate prosecution case. That should be also be concentrated by the defense lawyer, and you should, even if he is treated as hostile, you have to say that, or you have to cross-examine that he did not even saw that persons came and assaulted, and suggest that you did not saw the occurrence, you would have had it. Suppose sometimes when cross-examination the witness may say, I have only had. These things are there, therefore you have to concentrate on all this area of cross-examination of eyewitnesses. And tomorrow I will come to major witnesses and 27 recoveries, witness how to cross-examine. But recently the Honorable High Court of Judicature withdrew the I think hybrid for temporarily. Probably the reason may be when Justice Dandabani was irritated to hear the hybrid video conferencing audio when accused argued. It is not only irritating because the TV was just in front of him, and we were also being disturbed. We could not follow what he says. Therefore, he put aside the that big screen video. So we have regained the atmosphere back to address the court properly. In almost in other courts, this hybrid television set is fixed in 24. Probably there may be possibility of doing it. Again, I suggest the registry of Honorable High Court of Judicature. If you permit the persons with certain conditions to use the hybrid as a Supreme Court facilitate the advocates to argue through video conferencing. I hope best you understand our feelings. We will cooperate with the registry, whatever may be the warrant which have been given to us to appear before the court and argue the matter. Best wishes.